week. So I don't think I have many announcements for you other than I do have continuing education that I'm attending this weekend. The earlier that you get your assessments in, especially like tomorrow, I have a really good chunk of my afternoon tomorrow to spend on time for getting them back to you guys. I would really appreciate that just because that'll help me a ton. And then I don't have to try to worry about doing it like on Friday when I have continuing education all day Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. I'm sure that many of us are going to have FOMO because First Form Summer Smash is this weekend, and I'm so sad to be missing it because it's literally my favorite weekend that they ever put on. It's the first one Logan and I have missed in 5 years, which is crazy, but unfortunately, our seminar just fell at the same time and we had to do it. So hopefully, we can all live vicariously through First Form stories. It's going to be great.
So, do you have any inside secrets on what the new flavors are?
I have none, nothing, and they
You know,
never.
I zoomed in on one of the
I
posts. I was
know,
like, I
I
can
tried
see it in the
to.
box. I'm like, oh.
I think if I had to guess, due to the color of the label, that I saw Josh talking about, I think it might, and I'm saying this is just me thinking, like I know nothing. I think it might be like a strawberry shortcake level one. I'm thinking because the container was like red and white,
Hmm.
and I was like, it wouldn't be peppermint because obviously, we already have that and it's not that time of year. Thinking it might be like a strawberry shortcake or a cheesecake or something that has been heavily asked for quite some time. And the number one selling level one bar is the strawberry smash cake. So I didn't know if it was going to be something like that, but the best part is we will know about it soon. And I will tell all of you guys, they will release it to the public for a limited edition on Monday. So if you decide that you like the flavor of whatever it is, make sure that you're ready to go like Monday, 9, 10 a.m., etc. And then all of the apparel from Summer Smash will also be available next week as well, which I'm not sure if you've seen sneak peeks, but it's really, really cool. There's like blues and pinks and really fun colors. They always do like this is their biggest drop of the year is Summer Smash. So lots of fun, like bright colors too, which will be great. So as soon as I get insight, if I have some details, I'm gonna be telling you guys. But Summer Smash starts tomorrow, so yeah. I think that in addition to that, that is all I have for you guys. So let's go ahead and let's jump into our call. So last week we talked about managing blood sugar, and I feel like whether you knew those things or you didn't know those things, or maybe it was a good reminder, or refresher, or whatever, it was a great call to be like, you know what? Yeah, there's absolutely some things I could be focused on and some things I could make sure that I'm adhering to better, or you know what, I'm going to focus on this one thing. And I wanted to piggyback off of last week's call with this week's call, which is 10 creative ways to help you lower inflammation. Because if we're going to stabilize our blood sugar, that is also directly going to play into the inflammation that we have in our body. And inflammation truly is the root of all disease. It is the root of cancer. It's the root of Alzheimer's. It's the root of diabetes. It is the root of so many different things. And inflammation, if we can manage it, is going to be very, very helpful for our long-term health. Now, we as a society, and specifically our team, we have to work so much harder against inflammation than we did 50 years ago, 100 years ago, et cetera, because we didn't have seed oils. We didn't have all the crap that they put in our products. We didn't have, endocrine disruptors in our water and things like that. It really does make a big difference. And so I came up with 10 different ways that you might not think about to help you with inflammation. Now, this is not to say that you need to be doing all of these things, okay? If you are doing one of these things out of the 10, you're going to feel so much better. If you are doing, two or three of them already, like kudos to you, that's great. But again, I think you guys are going to like the list that I have compiled here. So, number one, a way to naturally reduce your inflammation is morning sunlight exposure. It really only has to be maybe 10 to 15 minutes. It doesn't have to be long at all. But what happens is getting direct sunlight on your eyes within the first hour of waking helps you regulate your circadian rhythm. And your circadian rhythm is your wake and your sleep cycles. At nighttime, our melatonin increases and our cortisol decreases. Whereas when we wake up, our cortisol is increasing and our melatonin is decreasing. It can just help with the actual light on our eyes to produce more cortisol in a really great way. Again, not overproducing stress, not anything like that, but just to wake us up and help us feel energized. It is one of the biggest habits that I see a lot of people ignore. And I will say, it doesn't necessarily matter what time you get up. It doesn't matter if it's, oh, the first sun of the morning. But if you can just get outside in the morning in actual bright light, that's going to help you a ton. And You don't necessarily have to be active with doing that, right? You could go on a walk, you could take a Train with Kelsey workout outside, or you could sit on your porch and sip some coffee. But actually getting outside, I know that it's getting hot for a lot of us, but regardless, just getting out there, not wearing sunglasses in the morning, like that's really going to help your body just lower inflammation. Because if your wake sleep cycles are more regulated, that means all the body systems are more regulated. So that's going to be number one. Number two, and some of you may not like this one, and that's okay, is cold exposure. So this is going to be cold showers or potentially cold plunges. Now, I will say this is not something I 100% recommend for everybody and anybody. But one thing I like to do when I get out of the shower, when I'm wrapping up my shower, is the last 30 seconds, I like to turn it on cold and really just try to wake up all of my tissues. Now, if you're someone who's like, that sounds miserable, I don't even want to think about that, like it's totally okay. Again, you can do a couple of the other things, but deliberate cold exposure is anti-inflammatory. And if it's just 30 to 60 seconds at the end of your shower, it can make a world of a difference. Like Skylar said, it really helps with her eczema as well. Many different body systems and getting woken up and things like that, it can be really helpful. And a side note, as a bonus too, it's actually really good for your hair. It's really good for the strength of your hair to like, yes, be washed out with hot water, but then to like have your the pores on your scalp and the pores on your face like absorb cold water and be hit with cold water. So again, that's number two. If you don't like cold exposure, we can go the opposite and we can talk about sauna use or heating use. So, regular sauna use at times, depending on where you are, and again, this is not something I automatically recommend for everybody, 3 to 4 times a week, it can help activate proteins that reduce chronic inflammation. So, what many of us don't realize, and honestly, I'm going to be transparent with you guys, I'm a practitioner, right? And I did not realize this until about 2 years ago when someone said it to me. Heat and cold do very similar things, right? If you lay with a heating pack on your back, you're going to have your blood vessels dilate, right? More blood is coming to the area. Okay, great. Pain reduction, whatever it may be, you're going to feel that. Cold, on the other hand, constricts the blood vessels down, but then when your body warms up, it redilates the blood vessels. So both of them, in a way, are dilating. You're just going to go right to dilation with heat, or you're going to cool it down and then you're going to dilate with your body temperature afterwards. So, not many people realize that heat and cold do very similar things, but what I'm going to tell you is it's personal preference. Okay, whatever one you prefer and whatever one you like, go nuts. There's never going to be a specific time where I tell you you have to use cold or you have to use heat, but I'm just telling you that those different temperatures can be a really great shock to the nervous system, and it makes the nervous system respond with, like, I'm supposed to be doing something right now. Like maybe I need to change something. That helps flush out a lot of inflammation. So two was cold and three was heat. Fourth one, which maybe you have not thought of either, is specifically at night breathing through your nose. Many of you have probably seen the mouth tape that's maybe going viral, or maybe you see an influencer using it or whatever. There's actually a lot of studies with that versus like breathing through your nose versus breathing through your mouth. Now, I understand some of us have sinuses and whatnot, it's very hard, but specifically calming down the body's systems to just breathe through your nose is really important for the oxygen exchange system. It's really great for the brain and things like that. So if you're someone who's not typically like a mouth breather when you sleep, or maybe you're sleeping next to your husband or whoever, and you don't have that problem, then maybe, just continue to focus on that. But if you're someone who often ends up breathing through your mouth, it's not a bad idea to get mouth tape. And of course, the mouth tape comes with a slit too, right? You're not fully taping your mouth entirely shut, but it's really nice to focus on what that actually feels like just to breathe through your nose as well. That's also why when you guys do Train with Kelsey, I tell you breathe in through your nose, push it out through your mouth. Again, it's just really great for the body systems to kind of regulate. And mouth breathing, it actually increases inflammation, because training yourself to breathe through your nose drastically lowers your systemic inflammation because of the amount of air exchange that you're getting. You're getting a lot in with the mouth, and sometimes it's too much for the body system to handle. So we're actually meant to be nose breathers. We're not meant to be mouth breathers. So just again, something to think about. Or if you're in the car on your commute to work, really try to focus on just maybe breathing through your nose if you're not someone who normally does it. And if it's not something you pay attention to, might be something that you start paying attention to. So that's number four. Number five is grounding or earthing. And this just means walking barefoot outside or using a grounding mat, but there's nothing going to be better than the grass. Okay, just get out and touch grass. I tell my patients that all the time. But this helps lower inflammation by neutralizing free radicals throughout the body from the earth. So we all probably are aware of this, but like the earth has energy, right? We have energy that goes through the earth. It's a really interesting, like if any of you guys have gardens, if you put copper in your gardens, you will notice a change in how well your vegetables and fruits and herbs and things like that grow because copper absorbs energy. And if we go outside and think about it, when's the last time you went outside without shoes on? It's probably not super frequent, right? So if you go outside and you're standing in grass or you're standing, on your patio or something, actually just if you can get in grass, it's going to be best. Physically just walking around in the grass is going to be so good for you. You're absorbing the energy from the earth. It's a very, connected feeling and it's ultimately going to help with inflammation. That's why, we find a lot of answers that we're looking for in nature. Vitamin D is natural. We want to get out in that sunlight. People say, "Hey, I feel so peaceful after going on a hike or a walk or something like that." It's because you're absorbing the energy from the earth. So, if you haven't gone out and touched grass in a while, here's your sign to go out and touch some grass, okay? It could be really, really good for you. So, that's number 5. We only have 5 more to go. Number 6. So we have talked about this extensively with just different topics that we've brought up, but a really great reminder is cutting out seed oils completely. Removing your vegetable oils, your canola, soybean, sunflower, corn oils. These are highly inflammatory. And what that essentially means is they are foreign to the body. The body doesn't know what to do with them. So when fat goes into our body, it gets broken down into smaller and smaller and smaller particles, as do carbs and as do proteins. But we also have to remember that the liver needs to clean 100% of the fat that goes through our body. And if your liver is functioning at top tier, you can only process 10 grams of fat per hour. Again, that's if your liver is really functioning well. So if we have to clean all of the fat that's in our body and we're taking in fat that's not recognizable by the body, that's going to be much harder on our liver. It's going to slow our liver down. It's going to slow the digestive system down. And the body's going to say, this is too much work. I'm just going to store it instead of actually use it or excrete it out of the body. So if you think of your natural fats like your nuts and seeds, your chia seeds, your flax seeds, your peanuts, your tree nuts, your avocados, your, healthier dressings, things like that, your eggs and beef and, some like maybe fattier turkeys or porks or things like that. Anything that's from the earth and a fat source or comes from an animal is going to be so much healthier for you than shortening or margarine or things like that. So cutting those seed oils out completely is going to be huge. And one of the things that I am actually starting to put together for you guys is a big PDF of just healthier brand swaps. Now, we've done this a couple of times as a topic in the Facebook group, but for example, I shared on a TikTok video the other day how I'm very impressed with Aldi and the brands that Aldi is carrying. For example, there's a brand that they carry called Clancy's. It's Clancy's, I think, Clancy's. And they are a much cleaner brand. Now, not all of their products are clean, but I was very impressed that they had sweet potato chips, and I love sweet potato chips, but I'm not willing to eat the ones with safflower or sunflower or canola or vegetable oil because I know I'm essentially just kind of like canceling out the benefits of the sweet potatoes, right? So I flipped it over and I was very impressed because it said sweet potatoes, avocado oil, and salt. That was it. 3 ingredients. Tell me the last time you looked at a nutrition label and there's only been 3 ingredients. I mean, of course, if it's a whole food, but the answer is it's not happening frequently, right? So this Clancy's brand has also come out with like kettle potato chips, where it's literally potatoes and sea salt and avocado oil. So all of this to say, I'm working on a PDF where it's like, hey, love Lay's potato chips, try these brands instead. So you can just kind of identify what some of those easy swaps are. But trust me when I say, especially from living in the South, oils wreak absolute havoc on people's health. I call all of, I shouldn't say all of my patients, but down here, my business partner and I, the medical doctor that I work with, we call them flamers. Like they're just walking around inflamed. Like they're flamed up. That's what we say. Is because that's what they are, right? Everything is deep fried. Nothing is actually just pan fried or grilled. It's actually dumped in a deep fryer and things like that. So if you can eliminate those seed oils completely or to the best of your ability, that's going to be great. There's nothing wrong with every once in a while having a snack that has them in them because your body's tuned up to be able to process through that. But if you do it every single day over and over and over, it's going to be not very helpful for your body. So that's number six.
I have a quick
Number,
question.
oh yeah, go ahead, girl.
So if you're saying the seed oils and going through, then you mentioned like sunflowers. So like, what's the benefit of the sunflower seed versus sunflower oil,
Great
or vice
question.
versa? Yeah.
Sunflower seeds are totally fine. It's the processing that those seeds have to go through in order to extract the oil out of
Okay.
them. There's other things that have to be added into that for it then to be shelf stable. So it goes through so much processing that the oil actually becomes rancid
Loses
and
the
it,
benefit.
yeah, and it becomes
Yeah.
like it completely nutritionally empty. So yeah, that's a great question. And people ask like, "Oh, well there's, avocado oil." It's like, "Yes, but avocado oil is coming directly from, that actual like the actual fats in there." Whereas like think about how many times they have to press sunflower seeds in order to get the oil out of them. Like it's going to be a lot. And my favorite is vegetable oil. I was like, what vegetables have oil? Like I don't know of any, right? Or canola oil. That's like canola is not a fruit. It's not a vegetable. It's nothing. It's man-made. It was completely made up. So yeah, that's a great question, Heather. But if you're doing, your chia seeds, your flax seeds, your truffle oil, right? Some mushrooms have oils in them. Those are totally fine. So I can make a list for you guys too of better oil options just to kind of have on hand because that would be a good thing too. So yeah, good question. Number seven. Now, if you all lived with Logan Roseboom and I, right, you'd be perfectly fine, but is laughter or just laugh therapy? And genuine laughter, actually laughing out loud or just like laughing between, an inside joke or something. It is so good to lower overall inflammatory markers. So one of the things that Logan and I do, I won't say that we do this all the time because we don't. Yeah, Skylar says good thing she cracks herself up every day. Or if you lived with Skylar, right? If you lived with Skylar, you'd be laughing every day. Heather can attest to this. Um, but one of the things that Logan and I like to do, and again, we don't watch TV a ton because we don't have time to, but we'll just put on a comedian and we will just laugh. We were with two of our friends in Indiana this last weekend, and we were watching like a Kevin Hart roast or something silly like that. It's just fun to laugh. It's fun to laugh at those different things, and it requires no brain power, right? You're just listening and you're absorbing that information. So don't be fearful to turn on a comedian or something like that. I love Jeff Dunham. Like I love The Ventriloquist. I think it's hilarious. So we'll just watch those, even if I've seen it a million times. It's great. Or I'll find some, stupid videos on the internet or something. But I'm telling you, if you're gonna doom scroll, if anything, make it productive and laugh while you're doing it instead of like just doom scrolling overall. So, but genuine laughter really can lower your overall cortisol, so your stress hormone, as well as your inflammatory markers. Number eight, this is one of my favorite ones, and honestly, one that I've been working on a lot more frequently with my patients as of lately. And we can do maybe even a whole separate team call on it. And it's called vagus nerve stimulation. Now, your vagus nerve is the biggest nerve in your body outside of the sciatic nerve, but the vagus nerve is going to be very much controlling of your rest and digest system. So, your breathing, your heart rate, your digestive systems, etc. That's how we get from the gut back up to the brain, and we call that the second brain or the enteric nervous system. The vagus nerve is very much involved for the nervous system and, different rest and digest as well as our like actual digest, like our digestive system. So one of the best ways that you can help stimulate the vagus nerve is going to be things like humming or singing. Those two things, like actually physically getting the vocals or just humming something is fantastic. So if you want to have a car party, like, and jam on your way to work or whatever, like go nuts, do that. It's one of the best things for you. Or turn on some music in your kitchen and hum and sing and whatnot. It's so, so, so great. And one of the other things, which we have done a team call about, but we can bring it back, is deep breathing techniques too, right? And months ago, I taught you guys the four in, the four hold, and the four out. And I work a lot with that with my patients. So inhaling for one, two, three, four, holding for one, two, three, four, and then exhaling for one, two, three, four. Setting a minute or a 2-minute timer, that's fantastic because you're taking something that is passive, right? You don't think about breathing, you don't think about your heart beating, it just happens. So you're taking something that's once passive and you're making it active because you're paying attention to it. If you're able to do that, you can really calm down the vagus nerve. Or if you feel like your vagus nerve is overactive, might feel nauseous, you might feel dizzy, you might feel lightheaded, slow down and actually regulate that vagus nerve. But the vagus nerve is absolutely 100% connected to inflammation and specifically nervous system inflammation, which is brain, spinal cord, etc. So that's going to be really helpful for just regulating overall inflammation. All right, 9 and 10, and we'll finish up. So, 9 is going to be strategic planning of your carbohydrates, and the specifics I'm talking about is with relation to your workouts. So, if you are somebody who trains in the afternoon, you should be looking at, how many like grams of protein and carbs do I have down by the time I work out? I've shared this with you guys, but years ago, so 2 years ago, when Logan was training for his competition, he had to make sure he had 75% of his food intake down for the day before he would do one of his kettlebell workouts. Maybe it's going to be different for you, but if you're somebody who wakes up in the morning and you do train with Kelsey right away, maybe like me, maybe you've conditioned yourself like me to not need anything before a workout. But if you're consistently noticing your performance is you're having a really hard time, you might need some more carbs around your workouts. So whether you're training first thing in the morning, midday, afternoon, evening, or whatever, before and after your workouts, it's going to be really important to get those carbs in. We talk heavily about Formula One and ignition, right? Ignition is the carb source post workout. But we also should be paying attention to what we're doing for carbs pre-workout as well. So maybe you have a cutie, a handful of grapes, maybe you have some cottage cheese and some berries. Maybe you've got like an English muffin with peanut butter or something like that. All of those things can be really great, but again, they're strategic from I need this from a performance standpoint. So that can be very helpful as well. So again, just a couple of things to think about is not necessarily carb cycling, but the timing of carbs is going to be huge. So having chronic low amounts of carbs and trying to go into a workout consistently can actually increase your inflammation because the body is looking for an energy source to be able to use. And if it's not conditioned in the right way, or if it doesn't have enough, I guess, gas in the tank, if you will, that could just contribute to higher amounts of inflammation. So just something to think about is the timing of your carbs. If you're like, you know what, I've never paid attention to when I'm eating and when I'm working out, that would be a really great thing for us to talk about in your assessment this week. And then the last one, all of you probably know this, but it's good reminders that I call it a digital sunset or blue light management. So stopping all screens anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes before bed, using red lights at night can be huge, and blue light at night from the TV screen or whatever can be really highly inflammatory because it disrupts melatonin. So one of the best things that you can do is get a pair of like blue light blockers. Like I have plenty of these all around the house. I've got them at my desk and different things like that. And red lights at night work really well too. And that's just as simple as like getting a red light bulb and switching out like the light by your bedside table to an actual red light. Really just, again, kind of helps produce more melatonin. If we're able to sleep deeper, all of the body systems are recovering better and we're able to flush out more of our inflammation than we might have been before. So just a lot of really great things for us to think about. So that's what I've got for you guys this week. Again, I do not expect you to do all of these. Like, please, please, please do not do all of these. It's a lot to implement all at once. But I want you to start to think about, you know what, I could work on XYZ, or you know what, I don't get out morning sunlight. I get up and I shower, I get my coffee, and then I'm off to work. Maybe I could get up 15 minutes earlier so I could enjoy my coffee on the porch, and maybe I could read 10 pages of a personal development book, right? Like that would be a great way for you to knock some things out, but also habit stack some other things and, move forward in a positive direction. So, I'd love to hear from you guys. Does anybody have anything they want to add or any questions that you have? Just kind of going over the topic tonight. Nothing? Clear as water or clear as mud? Good. Okay.
I was just gonna say, when you were talking about the hot and the cold, like I don't do cold, but I know it
It's
is
okay.
beneficial. But I loved when I was using the sauna.
Yeah. And you know
Um,
what? We could probably talk about maybe you going like back to the sauna too, Heather, now because
yeah,
we've got a lot of other things that have changed.
yeah. So
I
it's
love the
just,
sauna too.
yeah,
I
just
love the
let
heat.
it all out.
I will say, not that this is applicable to like all of you guys, but you guys know that this is applicable to Logan in my lifestyle, and I have no problem being vulnerable and sharing this with you right now. Like at where we are in our journey, it's not great for Logan or I to be in the sauna because you don't want to heat your internal body temperature because like around like trying to conceive and having a family and things like that, it can mess with sperm count and it also can mess with egg count too. So that's just something important that if you're not at the place where you're trying to conceive or whatever it may be, doesn't matter at all. Or if some certain skin conditions don't favor well to it or not. But it's just important to remember that like you always want to look into these certain things for your specific situations. I'm just giving you general information, but then saying, hey, there's more optimal ways to like to go about those certain things like that. So yeah. You and I'll talk about that this week, Heather. That'd be great. Okay. Cool. Well, I appreciate you guys being here. It's nice to always see you every week. It's like my little way that I'm like, okay, my batteries are recharged from this week to the next week. And the last thing I will say is if any of you are still thinking about going to the retreat and you have not gotten your applications in yet, we have over 38 applications already in, which means we only have 12 spots left. So if you're thinking about anybody else, coworker, sister, friend that might want to join you, please let them know ASAP because I do anticipate by the end of next week, we're probably going to have all applications filled up, which is exciting because then we get to the planning part, right? Then we get to talk about maybe what book we want to read for personal development and all that different stuff. So, in your assessments this week, just let me know what you thought of the team call. If you learned something or there's something specific you want to add in, or maybe you have a question that relates to your journey, and we'll be able to go from there. So, hope you guys have a great rest of your afternoon, evening, etc. And we will plan on checking in next week. Bye.